All right, finally ready to go. They'll cut out the beginning of it. I'm talking with Dennis Andrucyk, who recently retired as director of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. I know Dennis. I know Dennis. He can't be still. So I know he must be doing some really interesting things. What have you been doing since you retired, Dennis?
Well, I could take quite a bit of time, and you're absolutely right saying I have a hard time sitting still. I'm not one of those kind of folks that can sit at the beach and read a book for any length of time. I'm good for probably about 3 minutes. And I am a total retirement failure. I don't mean that in jest. I had an excellent career. I was totally blessed to have worked a full career with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and ending my career there as as you said, the center director at the Goddard Space Flight Center. But when I knew when I retired, I wasn't one that would be able to just go play golf. I wanted to do a couple of things. Number one was give back to the next generation. Talk to some of the up and coming engineers and help them in their careers, and still contribute. Maybe not at the level that I was at, but not so much at the strategic level where I had been, but at the actual building of systems level to help the next generation, but also get back into building some of the things that I had missed as an engineer. And I'm thrilled to say that I have transitioned to the Applied Physics Lab in Laurel, Maryland, not long after I left NASA. And it was a part-time job where I was going to do just that, only mentor some of the up-and-coming folks. APL, or otherwise the Applied Physics Lab is known as APL. They have quite a few younger generation folks that they have hired, and they needed someone that had been around quite a bit, and that was me. A couple of months later, they asked me if I'd be willing to run their mechanical engineering organization full time. That was a part-time job. They asked me if I'd be able to willing to run their mechanical engineering organization while they sought a permanent solution. So this was an interim thing. So for 8 glorious months, I led their 84-person mechanical engineering organization, mentoring on a daily basis many of the fresh outs, many of the younger generation, the folks up to and including mid-career. It was great supporting some of the hardware builds on a mission called IMAP, Europa Clipper, and Dragonfly. We can talk about those missions if you'd like. But I'll tell you what, I had the opportunity to do just what I had hoped to do, which was give back to that next generation and work on future systems. And it was totally rewarding. They have since hired somebody that is just outstanding. APL is a great organization. And I'm back to being a temp on call or a part-time person, still mentoring folks, but maybe not full-time anymore.
So you're dealing with Europa. Europa's a satellite of Mars, is not Mars, Saturn, is it not?
Actually, Jupiter.
Jupiter, got it wrong.
Europe, yeah, you're close.
I'm
So
close.
you've got what we got: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn's out there too,
Yeah.
in that order. But Europa Clipper is going to explore orbit Jupiter, but also do flybys of Europa, a moon of Jupiter.
And for what purpose?
Oh, for searching for signs of life. It's searching for signs of life is such a cool concept, and I'm really thrilled to be a part of that.
Searching for signs of little green men or what?
That is an excellent question, Ted. And I'll tell you what, if it were that simple, life would be great. Matter of fact, I'd be psyched. If I can go off on a slight tangent, if you don't mind, and reel me back in if you'd like. My mother-in-law, bless her soul, she has since passed away. For quite a while, she used to watch some of the shows that would imply that there were aliens and there were spacecraft that NASA was hiding from the world. And in particular, since I was at NASA, that I was personally hiding them from the world. And I would assure her that I knew of no such thing. And I was very excited to be a part of NASA and continuing into the future, looking for signs of life. I assured her that I didn't know of any aliens, but I'll tell you what, if we can search for signs of life to see if there is life out there, I think that would help us understand where we are, understand if we're alone. Is there other life out there? And if so, what form does it take?
Okay. If you find some kind of life, some kind of form, what would you do with it?
Well, I'll tell you what with the first and foremost, looking at our own solar system that's what Europa Clipper is all about, is understanding how life, well, first of all, let me back up one. We know that there are over 5,000 exoplanets outside of our solar system. And of the billions of stars and of the billions of galaxies, I personally believe that there's got to be signs of life out there somewhere. But we're just searching for it. Human exploration is something that our humanity has been looking for since the dawn of time. Folks have been exploring. They want to know what's over the next ridge, what's on the other side of this ocean. And now we're looking out into space to see what's out there. So there's an inquisitive exploration nature of humans, but we don't just do it for our own self-fulfillment, the self-actualization piece. We do want to understand how life would form elsewhere. How could it have formed? How did it form? And are there lessons learned that we can apply to our own existence here on Earth that would help us be better custodians of the Earth and preserve our habitat for the generations to come?
Do you think there's intelligent life out there?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you play the odds and you think of all the billions of galaxies, I got to believe personally, this is not a professional answer from an organizational standpoint. I believe there's life out there. Is it intelligent life? I don't know, Ted. But when you think about what you need for life, as we know, you need water, you need nutrients, and you need energy. And as we look at the number of exoplanets out there, those that are in the proverbial Goldilocks zone, where they're not too close to the star, where the water might have boiled off, or there might be being irradiated, or planets that are so distant from that star that there is no opportunity for liquid water to form. That's the Goldilocks. So the Goldilocks zone is an area where there could be liquid water. That's where we're going to search for signs of life, and that's if there's intelligent life, that would be awesome. But right now, I'd settle for understanding that there is life out there.
Exoplanet. What is an exoplanet?
Great question. An exoplanet, I should have defined that myself. All the planets around our sun are within our solar system. We think of the same sort of architecture around a distant sun, or a distant star, rather. And any planet circling a distant star is considered an exoplanet.
Okay, so the Goldilocks area would be an area where a planet would have an opportunity of not being too hot and not being too cold, so it could support life as we know it.
Correct.
Very interesting. You're interested in something, you're doing something else too. You mentioned dragonfly.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, Europa Clipper, by the way, is going to make 50 orbits of Jupiter and do flybys of Europa, searching for signs of life. But do you want I'll get into dragonfly in just a second? Can I tell you a little bit more about Europa, or is that too much?
Please.
Oh, okay. Europa is a moon of Jupiter, one of 95 moons of Jupiter. Jupiter, by the way, is the largest planet in our solar system. It's 88,000 miles across. And Earth, by the way, is about 8,000 miles across. You can fit in by volume 1,300 Earths into the same volume as Jupiter. So it's a giant, giant planet. And so that's why it and as a result, it also has so many moons. One of them is an ocean world, we call it, which is the Europa moon. Europa is 2,000 miles across, and we believe it's got a warm, rocky core. It's again 2,000 miles across. Many miles of ocean, 10 plus miles of ocean, we feel, and a surface crust of ice. Observations over the years lead us to believe that water, the water in Europa that Europa is made up of, the warm crust has pushed water vapor through the crust, and we see that. So the beauty of having Europa Clipper would be to be able to do spectroscopy to see what that water is made of, to see how we can determine whether or not there are signs of life, whether there's nutrients in that water that gets ejected from the crust of Europa. We also want to have thermal imagers to find out where the warm spots are in that ice. So there are many, many instruments we'll be flying. I won't go into all the details. Many instruments flying on Europa Clipper, and I can't wait to get the results back. It's going to launch in October of 24. So later on this year. It takes 5.5 years to get there. And so we can expect orbit insertion around Jupiter to start the flybys of almost 58 flybys of Europa in 2030.
Wow.
Really excited to get the results of that mission.
I'd grow a long beard waiting for it.
But that's not what you asked me. You asked about Dragonfly. So sorry about
Yeah,
that little tangent there.
yeah.
Okay. Dragonfly is a mission that is being built by the Applied Physics Lab right here. And Zibby Turtle is the principal investigator. She's here. She is just fantastic, by the way. And the team is building, imagine a quadcopter the size of a small car. Because that's about what it is. But in truth, it's an octocopter. Because on a drone where you see the motors and the rotors, four of them on each quadrant of the each quadrant of the aircraft. For Dragonfly, it's got two motors and two rotors on each pod, so it's really an octocopter that's flying. It's about the size of a small car. It's got many instruments. It's going to fly and land on Saturn's moon Titan, and it's also looking for signs of life. So this way cool mission is something we're putting together now. The ambient temperature at Saturn's moon Titan on Titan is minus 179 C. It's got an atmosphere that's denser than Earth. So with those rotors and those motors, we should be able to fly this. We will be able to fly this octocopter to different locations around Titan, looking for signs of life. I tell you what, Ted, the one beauty about working in space and space science in particular, you never do the same thing twice, and it's truly an exciting career path.
All right, well, back up for 1 second. You said minus 170
9C, yes.
and absolute zero, where nothing moves in an atom, is what temperature?
I have to look it up. I don't know that off the top of my head. 0 Kelvin. I'll tell you what, I can tell you in just a couple seconds.
But it's got to be close to that. So how can there
No.
be? No?
0. Absolute zero is minus 273. So it's about
273.
halfway there, a little over halfway there.
Okay, so it's relatively warm.
Oh, it's warm compared to absolute zero, but it's still cold.
Yeah.
Some of the challenges we're dealing with in this organization is making sure we can keep the spacecraft electronics at room temperature. So the outside temperature is minus 179. So you have to make sure that you build a thermal environment that the instruments will still survive and operate to look for those signs of life. It's a great challenge, and we've got models that show that we can make that happen. And I'm excited to be a part of that team.
You sound excited. Dennis, you've done so much. We, AARP, and the nation owe you a lot. You're a leader. You've led NASA. You've taken a leadership at where you are now. We thank you so much. We wish you well on your part-time job, if that's how it stays. I hope you don't go to Titan or Europa, but I hope you can learn all that you want to learn and share what you do learn. And I really do thank you for this opportunity to speak with you.
Well, thank you for having me, Ted. And by the way, I really do need to mention, I am part of an awesome team that makes this happen. This is a lot of folks pulled together to make these missions happen, and I've got to give credit to those folks. So thank you, very, very kind word, but I've got to recognize the teams that help make these awesome missions happen and happen successfully.
Stay well in your retirement, and good luck to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was exciting for me too, even though I showed my ignorance by putting Europa around the wrong.
No worries.
But that's okay. That makes it more natural.
Yep. I hope it came off as less scripted and more of a dialogue, and that's kind of, I think, helps keep people's attention.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean, it wasn't scripted from my part. I tried to engage with you in that, and the noise outside wasn't too bad.
I didn't hear a peep. The filtering circuits work very, very well.
So what else is good with you?
I've got a granddaughter, 2.5-year-old Audrey, that I'm spending a lot of time with. So that was one of the reasons I was also happy to change back to part-time. I was going to say that, and I thought, nah, I probably shouldn't throw that in. And my daughter, Caitlin, is expecting baby number 2 now. So we're going to be grandparents again. I tell you what, Ted, that nothing is more exciting than that.
Tell you what I'm waiting for. I guess it was a month or so ago now, when at the request of my grandson and his then fiance, they asked me to perform a marriage ceremony for them. I had done it for his sister some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a minister.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
$40 and you're a minister.
So am I. Universal Life Church.
Yeah. Well, this is American Marriage Ministry.
Yep.
We'll have to sit down and compare Bibles. That's hysterical. All right. So I married them. She's now in the process of converting to Judaism. And when that is done, they will have a religious ceremony.
Okay.
But in the meantime, they want to have a baby and they
Mm-hmm.
want to be married in order to have a baby.
So
So
you can do a civil service.
I'm waiting every day to hear that Vera is pregnant, and so
Congratulations.
no, she's not, as far as I know now. But
But it sounds like it's going in that direction and they want it. So that's a good thing.
yeah, and it's so tempted to say you're working on it, but that's not kind of cool, you know. Oh my.
Yeah, I did that a year ago, last September. My niece was getting married. We know her very well, know her fiance for quite a long time. And our daughter Caitlin performed the wedding ceremony, and she got ordained, if you want to call it that,
Yeah,
in the Universal Life Church as well. And I did it as a backup in case Caitlin got sick. So I haven't actually performed a ceremony.
it's fun.
$50 later, and you got a certificate.
Right. When I did the one for his sister, it was outdoors. My sister was there, who is now deceased. May she rest in peace. My brother was there, and a friend of mine who is also deceased. And you know, I do enough public speaking that I'm comfortable, right? So I could look at the audience. I didn't have to be, you know. So I'm watching what's going on, and their jaws are dropping more and more and more. And they just couldn't believe what is going on. So that was part of the fun of the day. Wasn't that big a shock this time, because the second time around they expected. But it
Mhm.
was fun to do, and it was wonderful to be so honored to think that your grandkids want you to do that.
Isn't that awesome?
It is a thrill. It is really a thrill.
It really is. That's fantastic.
All right. So thank you. And I'm going to see if I can get ready in 3 minutes to do a Pilates Zoom.
Ah, all right. Well, let me let you go then.
All right. Talk to you soon.
I'll see you, Ted. Bye.
Bye-bye.